So so you can have two holding companies, and they can own the same limited company.
Yes.
Who, obviously, they're normally fully owned subsidiaries. So what's the shareholding to the holding company?
It depends what you agree between yourselves. So if I was advising you, I'd be saying to you, have 51% of the shares. Because if you've got 51% of the shares, you haven't got control per the rules, but you've got control because you've got 51% of the voting rights. So whatever you say goes. Nadeem will go to his accountant, and if they're smart, they'll say, don't give him 51%, you want 51%. So you both sit down together and you agree 50% each.
Right.
And at that time, it's extremely important to have a shareholders agreement. Because if you're 50% each, you're going to get to a stage where you're going to disagree on stuff. So you have a shareholders agreement to work out when you don't agree, how do you move forward? Okay?
Something relevant. I have exactly this structure with my business partner. We each have a holding company, and our limited company, which does HMOs, we own 50-50. Our holding companies own that 50-50.
Yep.
And we're directors 50-50.
Yep.
Someone told me some time ago that once you do that, we should resign personally as directors so that the holding companies are automatically shareholders and directors. So our name is not attached to the company that we own 50-50. Is that a good idea?
A limited company can't be a director of another limited company.
Yeah.
It has to be an individual. It can be a shareholder, not a director. Because a limited company doesn't have the power to instruct another company what to do. It has to be a human being.
So, yeah, it's
I think a lot of people misunderstand, okay, and misuse the word director.
Yeah.
Director, Stella, to keep it very simple, means you're an employee of a company. Nothing else. So if Brian is a director of ABC Limited, that doesn't mean Brian owns that company. It means he works for that company, he's an employee, but because he's a director, he's got certain responsibilities and obligations, okay, to the company. So if something goes wrong, the first person who gets called in by the shareholders is Brian, say, you were in charge, or you were one of the directors, or you were the commercial director or finance director, we've got a problem here, what the hell were you doing? Because you're the man in charge, yeah? So the power is always with the shareholder and not the directors, but the directors have the responsibility to make sure that the company is trading as a going concern and is always a commercial viable entity.
It's accountability and responsibility.
That's right, yeah.
So
and in turn they get paid good money.
So a human has to be a director.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But a company can be a shareholder.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so
I thought shareholders didn't really have much power. I thought all the power was with the director.
all the power is the shareholder.
Oh.
Directors can't sack shareholders.
No.
Shareholders can sack directors.
Yeah.
Okay, so all the power is with the shareholders. And this is why you see with the bigger companies, the kind of stuff that Brian used to be involved with, they have an AGM where you have all the shareholders, and then you have a KPMG, EY, whatever, they talk through the accounts, and then you have the CEO, the MD, okay, sits there and answers any questions, okay? Because the people in charge are the people who invested their money.
Yeah.
They're the shareholders, not the directors.
But
the directors are responsible for making sure the company is run properly. So as Brian says, accountability, transparency, responsibility.
Okay, but in most small and medium-sized limited,
End up being the same people.
The director ends up being the main shareholder,
That's right.
typically.
Yeah.
And then he's getting investors who are potentially minority shareholders. So actually, all the power's with that director.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, because in small companies, when you've invested 100 grand, you don't want to make Brian the director because you think it's my 100 grand. If it goes wrong, I'll be in trouble. So I'm quite smart. I'm going to manage it all myself. As you get bigger and you get to a certain size and scale, you've got enough money there to understand we need real experts who have expertise in carrying this business forward. And because you can afford to pay for them, you pay for them. Because when you're working for your company as a director, you're charging, let's say, at 8, 10, 12,000 pound salary. You bring in Brian says, I want 100 grand a year. You think I'll afford to pay you. That's why in smaller companies, the director and the shareholder, Stella, are the same people. Okay?
Makes sense.
Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, by the way, make sure you click like, subscribe and post a comment, because that tells me that you're engaging and you're finding the content useful. And if you like this video, make sure you check out this video here, because it's the next stage in terms of your learning and development.